Hello and welcome to Gothenburg in Sweden. All the IBM goodness you could possibly wish. I'm here to report. Hello and welcome to your IBM update for June 2025. This is the first of a two-part special reporting from the June IBM events in Sweden and the UK. This part covers Common Europe in Gothenburg. Here I give insight in what it's like to attend and provide those top takeaways from the pick of the presentations as attended by proximity, your premier partner for IBM application support and development. So, welcome to Gothenburg, where here at the Gothia Towers Hotel and Exhibition Centre, Common Europe was taking place. This 4-day event had everything needed for the IBM professional, from hands-on workshops to technical presentations, business strategy to personal development. There were sessions for you. So if you were there, I'll provide this recap of what I thought were some of the most interesting parts. If you weren't there, then hopefully this will provide a flavour on what Common is all about, plus provide some insight into those key sessions I attended. Let's start by saying the event is the biggest of its type in Europe. Over 500 IBMiers fitted around the cavernous halls within the Expo Centre. Here, exhibitors from all over the world were on hand to provide real-world solutions for businesses running on IBM Power. Within easy reach of the Expo Centre were the session rooms, including the main hall in which the keynote speeches were held. Perhaps that's a good place to start with my first of the key picks at this year's Expo. This keynote by AI on IBM Power technical lead Sebastian Lehrig discussed how IBM have made AI simple and fast. Now, to do so, Sebastian explained that you first need to tackle the common barriers. The top barrier, garnering over 50% of his concern, was with data privacy. Sebastian explained that trust and transparency were of great concern, ensuring you protect personal or identifiable information, and meeting your regulatory obligations impact over 90% of all AI projects. Skills too prohibit 35% of AI initiatives, with skill shortage relating to data security, literacy and coding skills cited. And finally, 22% of organisations say AI projects are too complex or difficult to implement or scale. So, the question that Sebastian posed during his presentation was, how can we overcome these barriers and provide a simple and easy path to AI success? Well, thankfully, the good people at Big Blue have thought of this and can support your AI requirements through their ecosystem and technology stack built upon Power. Sebastian went on to provide some real-world examples on how this technology can be, and indeed has been, utilised. One particular example was with Hans Geiss, the global logistics provider running on IBM. Through the introduction of AI, they sped up the sales order process by over 5 times. Essentially, what it does here is AI handles the incoming requests for quotations within emails. It analyses the content, creates the proposal, and provides a review and submit process for the key employee to edit and, if needed, sign off and send. This AI addition enhanced employee productivity by lowering the process time by 80%. So this was a simple, elegant and effective process. And remember, this was a business running on IBM. Okay, but what do we need to run this? The enterprise may be running on IBM, but did they need banks and banks of GPUs, and how expensive is all of this? Well, running AI on a 3-core Power 10 provides a better total cost of ownership than the equivalent x86 model. And no GPUs were needed. IBM had their own solution called Spire. Essentially, you have a bank of 8 of these small form PCIe cards, and combined they provide 1 terabyte of DDR5 memory, providing 1.6 terabyte per second of aggregated memory bandwidth. This is all scalable and supported by a team of engineers with the AI know-how over at Big Blue. Now for the IBM I Enterprise, you'd need a Power 10 with a Linux partition to get up and running. But the technology is there, the infrastructure is there, and the support is there too, so it's all very compelling stuff. This leads nicely into my next feature pick, in which Steve Will, IBM I CTO and Chief Architect, discussed current technology drivers in the industry and how the IBM I strategy and roadmap are adapting. Now, during his presentation, he introduced the new features of 7.6, and should you be interested in learning more, please do see my April 2025 edition of the IBM I Update. There I provide a great deal of insight in what's contained within version 7.6. But much of Steve's presentation focused on getting value from running applications on the platform and how they make it easier for businesses to justify continuing their journey on IBM I. Steve explained that the plan is to continue to support releases for several years or up to a decade should the client pay just a little extra money. Steve went on to explain what IBM I needs to look like in the future, with a focus being on a platform that integrates data with cloud. One of the areas in which Steve is looking at is to provide a place in which you can run open source Linux models and tools and allow them to integrate nicely with your I applications. Now, this isn't there yet, but it's a direction of travel, as were the AI elements, of course. Taking aside the generative approach, Steve discussed releasing the integrated promise of IBM I and explained that by harnessing the potential of agentic AI and facilitating its ability in development, management and data access, well, this would be a game changer. Steve explained that he asked an AI what agentic AI was and how it relates to Model Context Protocol, or MCPs as they're known. I'll let Steve answer this.
It's things that can act autonomously, understand, plan and execute, fulfill user goals.
The answer was that it's an application that can act autonomously to understand, plan or execute a specific task. AI agents use LLMs to reason and can interface with tools, other models and other IT systems to fulfill user goals. What IBM intend to do is to provide the server-side MCP support, so no matter what chat interface you're working with, the IBM I will be able to interface with it, and of course facilitate those functions needed to make decisions and perform actions. During the presentation, Steve mentioned the newly named watsonx code assistant for I, and during the conference and for the first time you could get to see it in action. Therefore, I joined Adam Shedevy, a software development engineer at IBM, to preview the tool. Adam showed the assistant in action, explaining and summarizing code. However, the end goals will be to provide similar results to that of the code assistant for Z. There, IBM found that the assistant could provide productivity by up to 47% in the understanding and refactoring phase, and had a 60% reduction in effort during the coding phase. Now, aside from the impressive demonstration, what was also made clear is that the future development environment may not be RDI or even Merlin. The future may well be VS Code. As a change of pace, I joined Steve Wolk for a walkthrough of a typical day in the life of using AI. Now, If you've never had the privilege of hearing Steve speak, please do. He has a wonderful way of simply explaining complex things in an entertaining and engaging manner. In this particular session, Steve skipped for tech and drove straight into real-world AI applications that helped boost productivity and streamline daily tasks. Here I learned the right client to use for automated email, analyze data, but the real quick productivity improvement was to use the talk feature on the paid-for version of ChatGPT app. Here we can tailor and read my news. You can put emails together plus dictate and compile news and ideas during the daily commute. You can even discuss challenges you're facing and get ideas on solutions, all while stuck in traffic. So it's particular gold for someone like me. After the session, it was time to unwind within the expo hall with a glass of wine or a beer or two and have a chat with fellow delegates and vendors. Now, speaking of vendors, the prize for the booth with the best giveaways went to Remain Software with their assortment of Holland-related goodies, including models and even stroopwafels, a favourite of mine. Later still, we were off to the banqueting hall for the Congress dinner. There we were entertained by a pianist, while an assortment of delights was available as a buffet in all corners of the room. A wonderful meal and evening was enjoyed by all, and my thanks to the organisers for putting on such a good event. And on the final day of the Congress, a selection of top experts joined the stage for an open Q&A. One of the questions involved was, what would your recommendations be for starting your career in IBM? Charles took this and explained that AI and security would be top, as would be application development. However, he also went on to say that he wouldn't want to be immersed in one language and one platform. That's not our world anymore. He recommended looking at multiple stacks. Even if you're not proficient, the knowledge in these areas and their capabilities would be a very welcome skill today. The event closed with Steve Cast providing a barnstormer of a speech, explaining that this year's event was the largest of its type, with over 460 attendees from 20 countries enjoying 73 speakers, over 170 sessions. It really was quite the event. And that's it for this of the first of two parts of the IBM I update for June 2025. I do hope you enjoyed this snapshot of what's happening and what you could see at Common Europe. I'll be back next week with the second part, which covers the iPower event in Northampton, UK. In the meantime, for more like this, please do see our blog on the Proximity website. But for now, I'm Andrew Nicholson. We're Proximity, the IBM I partners that are in your corner. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.